you're also quite active in the acting world. You seem to pop up.
I do. I do a lot of C and D movies. And
Don't we all?
Yes. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, so as many things working around the schedule of the store that I can be involved in, because the entire world that you and I are involved in from many different angles is a ball, and quite frankly, it's a lot of hard work. And if you're not having fun and you're in any aspect of this business, you should get out, because it's not going to get easier,
No.
but you better enjoy it while you're doing it. You know, what I'd like to do next is, because I've directed stage plays, I've directed dinner theater plays, I'd like to direct a film. So that's where I'm kind of shooting for next. And I originally started in radio, so I'd love to go back to doing the podcast or a regular show. With the people that come in here, to do a podcast with people of note is like, well, so-and-so's in next week, let's do a show with them.
Why not?
You know, yeah. The old podcast, I was talking to you earlier, we had done an hour with effects man Steve Johnson. And that was a lot of fun, because Steve's one of those people, you never know where he's going to go.
That is so true.
But it's a good heart, and it's a lot of fun. And I like people who are less than just, you know, giving me one-word answers.
Right, or like the same cookie-cutter answers that we've heard 50 million times.
Exactly.
You know, oh no, everything is great, everything is wonderful, it's
Yeah.
great. It's 2019 is the best year ever. No, come on now, let's be honest. Welcome to America.
That's right. So it's fun, and the variety and different types of people and different types of situations that you find yourself into in this business is just, it's always new.
So you want to get into directing.
Because there aren't enough directors.
There's not.
That's right.
I always think we need more original, insightful.
Yeah, there aren't enough
voices
people
behind the
directing
camera.
because the jobs are in such abundance.
They are.
Yeah.
And the pay is phenomenal.
It's like throw a rock in this town, you could hit an actor. We're where it's at. That's part of the success of the store. Not because Sue and I have any sort of brilliance or insight. One, we happen to love something that many fanatical people love also, which is where the word fan comes from, right? So people who are into it, we happen to be into it also. We also found a niche that needed to be filled, and we filled it. That is, there were no other horror stores in the United States when we started this. And the other thing is, like, location. You know, I would love to do this in Des Moines, but I don't think I could, because everybody's here who's an author making a film deal, or an actor, or a director, or a special effects person, or an artist, or a composer. We just happen to be located in the hub of it. And one of the things I have to say that tore me up in a good way was when we found out that we were probably leaving this location. I heard nothing but "you can't go" in many different permeations from people all over, and they're the ones that make the store happen, and we were like gobsmacked.
So it's true. I can't think of a film world in Los Angeles without you. Like, you're such a staple. You talk to everyone, and everyone has their own amazingly wonderful stories about you, your wife, and your store and their experiences.
We pay them.
Right?
To say that.
I mean, I'm sure if you had the money, you would, but I know that that's not the
Say
case.
something nice.
You know? And it's just such a magical place. I remember one day I was in the area, because this is Burbank, I live in Hollywood, and I walked in, and there's Mick Garris, and he's just sitting at a table. There's not 100 people surrounding him, unlike at a convention where he'd have a lineup at the door. He's just sitting there talking, hanging out. How cool is that? Like, and that kind of thing is what I really feel makes your store special. There's always something really amazing going on, either currently or behind the scenes, and I think that's so great. Something else I really wanted to talk about really briefly before we wrap this up is I've heard rumors that you might be getting into film distribution.
I did earlier on. I would love to do that again, but I had gotten involved with the company because so many of my friends do indie film. The vast majority of the time they put their money into it and they never even get their original money back, let alone make a profit. It's all, they don't want it to be all about love, and it's not a nonprofit because they designed it that way. It just, So I had gotten together with some other people who were into film distribution and also had some connections at that time to Sony. Um, but it seemed like at the time that Sony, I signed a year contract with them and ran the whole year out without doing anything because it seemed every time we brought something to them, Sony needed to do the approval for them to distribute, which was fine, but I'm doing low budget horror, and that's what I was hired to do, those indie films and get them out there, and Sony didn't want to. So I said, okay, I just let the contract run out and left. I had an idea last month that I was talking to some people about on the fringe of film distribution, like a central place for the film distributors to come to. And instead of always starting up with the idea that, all right, I'm JoJo Distributing, I just bought your film, I'm going to find us a theater in Chicago and a theater in Kansas City and whatever, you would come to us. We already have those set up and can put you on a limited schedule in the art house and indie theaters instead of and put you still in. There's an indie theater in every single state, in every major city. And at best, people like you get a film out there and they show it in 10 theaters out in the sticks, and then it goes VOD, and then if you're lucky, it dies a slow death. And I don't think they deserve that. I think there should be a platform for that.
I agree. Well, you'll keep us posted if that
I
happens
will.
for the moment. Now, looking back, we've talked about a lot. I'm curious, out of your career experiences, what is it that you're the most excited about?
Tomorrow. Yeah. Because I already did the stuff I've done. I love the stuff I've done. Right now I'm really excited because the novel is coming out. But it's like my sister said to me, we were talking on the phone one day, and she said, what is your favorite thing you've ever written? And I said, well, the one I just finished. And she said, well, what is your least favorite? I said, the one I'm working on. Because I hate whatever I'm working on because it's all work, it's all stress, it's all whatever. This one I just finished, and now people can see it.
So where can people find out more about you and the store? Obviously, we're going to link everything down below, but there's the darkdelicacies.com website. You're on all the social media platforms.
We are. Dark Del Horror, I think, is on Instagram and some other handle on Twitter. And it's all got Del or Dark in it. So. And then I have a Facebook page just for me.
You're maxed out of friends, though, but you can follow him on it.
I am. I thought, I
forever.
thought about getting one of those where you can only like it. It's the celebrity site. And then I thought, what if I get like 3 people? Because all of my friends are already maxed out my regular one. They go, we don't need another site with them in it. So.
Well, I feel like there's benefits to that. I mean, I was pretty sad when I was like, we can't be friends on Facebook.
Well, and it varies because, I have followers who die, and then I can put you in, and,
Isn't
things.
that sad, though? That is so sad to me when I realized somebody else. I literally the other day, I'm like, oh, Matt never responded back to, the message. I sent him, because he was, a contributor to Truth or Dare crowdfund, and I realized I still have his copy there because he never responded back, and I was like, I've sent him messages over the last, year and a half, never heard back, and I was like, let me just go check on his page. He died.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so sad.
Or I'll say something political, and they'll drop my ass. They'll say, I'm not listening to that guy anymore, and then the space opens up.
No, I will find you.
But I'm so worried about, because I started with some other people a production company called Three-Headed Beast. There's 3 of us that are doing it. And we went to one company about this project we had in mind. They said, well, we looked him up. He's only got 5,000 followers. And our agent person said, oh, you just looked up the regular Facebook because he can only have 5,000. Now, if you add the Dark Delicacies page, the Dark Del Twitter site, there's 20-some thousand, right? And they go, our people looked it up. They only got 5,000 followers. So I thought, well, maybe I have to open one of those sites to get, if they want that number, but it's stupid because it's not really the number.
No, it's stupid, but it's the reality of 2019.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the reality of the future. People just care so much about numbers.
They do. If I had all of those numbers in one place, it makes me more viable than if I didn't. I'll get the phone.
So thank you so very much for joining me. I'm going to link everything down below so you guys can find out more information, and I really encourage you to get involved. Before we go, though, the final question I have is, what can the fans at home watching, what can they do to help the horror industry?
get out and participate with your dollars. And I don't necessarily mean at my store. I mean, go to the films. Don't bootleg.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are smaller who are involved that you hurt when you bootleg. Buy the books. Why did people quit reading? You know why we have a lot of sequels and follow-ups and remakes? Because nobody wants to read the book. What is there here? 7,000 original stories in front of you?
At least.
You know. So yeah, let's get new scripts out there, support the industry, go see your people at conventions. That's a good thing.
Absolutely awesome.
Have bad dreams.
Now, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below and also subscribe. Please feel free to share it also on your social media platforms and share anything regarding anything that you're passionate about. If you see a video, if you see a piece of merchandise for sale that someone's sharing, the more you share it, the more we can circulate this community around to reach a wider audience.
And I'm sure you're like me. There's something I like about my blog is when you actually respond and I see something from you and it helps me get a direction for my blog. I'm sure you like the same.
I love that engaging content.
Yeah.
And guys, don't forget also, we do a Patreon with the show. If you feel like contributing a couple bucks, check it out. If you don't, totally fine. Just like and subscribe here on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.